We are sorry. We are very sorry by the. We are very very sorry customers. In fact, tutawabeba mpaka na hiyo discount. Sasa tumekubali mkuje, we negotiate. We are very sorry. But kwani hamjui jokes? Customers. Hamjui jokes. Tulikuwa joke bana. Tulikuwa serious muende na matatu bana. Hey, tunakaa Kilimani Kiridesho tumepaka hakuna mtu wa kubeba yao. Customer, from the deepest part of our hearts, we are sorry. Tafadhali itisheni cab tuwabebe. Tumesema sorry. Mimi kwanza Magiuba nimesema sorry. On behalf of all other drivers, nimesema sorry, musiende na matatu tena, mkuje tuwabebe. Tafadhali, we are sorry.
The title of today's video is that drivers have been cornered, including myself. You know, in the last 1 week and the last 1 month, drivers have been negotiating for prices so much and, you know, mentioning very harsh and difficult words towards riders and passengers, telling them that, you know, if they cannot afford to pay 300 shillings per trip, they can go and use boda boda, they can go and buy their own cars, they can go and use matatus, they can stay at home. Like, you know, all the anger that drivers have had against the taxi companies, that is the Uber and Bolt and the rest, all that anger has now been directed to riders. And I mentioned in my previous video that riders right now, they feel a sense of being unsafe when they request for taxi. Actually, the day before yesterday, I was going to TRM Mall, so Thika Road Mall. I requested for taxi, and then the guy took a different direction to come to where I had requested, so he got lost a little bit, and I was like so scared because I thought when this guy comes ultimately to pick me, he would start to complain so much that he got lost, that he spent so much time coming to pick me, and I thought now he would even say that I need to triple the amount of money I needed to pay him. But luckily that guy was a good gentleman. He did not involve himself so much in the negotiation stuff, and actually I added him some money on top voluntarily. So right now when passengers are requesting for these taxis, they feel very unsafe, and actually a lot of them are preferring to do what drivers advised them to do. They are now deciding to use matatus, they are deciding to use boda boda, they are deciding to walk, they are deciding, you know, to use alternative means instead of using for taxis. They are preferring to save people's number, you know, so that they can call them when they need to travel. And at all costs, people right now are avoiding to use taxis. And drivers have gone back to a place of complaining. You know, they are complaining like 5 times right now that work has gone down. As I have mentioned, a lot of drivers right now, they tell me they are doing 5 to 10 trips per day. I don't keep those statistics, but I know even the taxi companies, they can confirm that. While previously they used to do 10 to 20 trips. So what do I suggest here that we do? Sometimes, you know, drivers, sometimes we are not really aware of what we are asking for or what we are saying. When we direct a lot of negative energy to riders, they will avoid using taxis and all of us will lose. You get my point? Like what is happening right now? For me right now, unless it is completely a very, very busy end of month weekend, I don't try to go online for part-time driving because I will not get enough trips for the few hours that I have to drive. For me, if I'm doing part-time driving, I want to do back-to-back trip. I drop, I pick, within like 3-4 hours. I have made the money I wanted to make and I go back home. But I don't have the whole 6 hours to stay outside just carrying 3 or 4 customers. So I think at this point, now drivers can start to appreciate why these companies, Uber, Bolt, and everyone else, puts the rider at the center of everything. Because if these passengers stop using our cars, nobody will make money. So we must all be very, very conscious of the fact that if riders avoid this business, then this business is as good as dead. You cannot even negotiate about price increase because even if prices increased, there are no people to carry. So that is the first thing. So I think I want to, you know, to beg my fellow drivers to find a better way to approach passengers, to make sure that in as much as we want better working conditions. We must not make these passengers feel unsafe when using taxis. Secondly, I think on the side of these applications, they are starting to notice that there is a serious issue with what drivers are saying. The concerns raised by drivers are actually genuine concerns, but the type of actions that these taxi companies are taking are just what we call opticals, because they say they add, like Uber said, they added 10% into the minimum fare trip, but for many drivers that interprets really to nothing. I wish they could heed to my advice, whereby I talked about adding 1 shilling per kilometer. If Uber is charging 30 shillings per kilometer, let them be charging 31 shillings. If Bolt is charging 29, let them start charging the 9. Also for the local application, the local companies like Faras and Litrocab, we expect to see them taking far much smaller commissions compared to these foreign applications. Why? Because we know that they have some tax advantages that these foreign companies do not enjoy. I was reading like 2 days ago that these foreign companies, that is Uber and Bolt, they pay almost like 19% of their total turnover. So all the money that they collect, they pay back to the government around 19%, which is quite a lot, because a lot of it is linked to significant economic presence. So that's a new term that I was reading the other day, that when a foreign company comes into a country and grabs a huge part of the market share, then it is considered to have occupied a significant economic presence. And then there is a tax that accompanies that. So these companies are being charged around 16% tax for significant economic presence, and then there is digital tax that is around 1.5%, which these local companies are exempted. They just pay the income tax, which really is not as much as what these foreign companies are paying. So from my side where I sit, I think Faras and Litrocab and other local applications must take commission that is significantly very, very low compared to these foreign applications, so that drivers can continue to prefer them instead of preferring Uber and Bolt. So I think I will do another video about what happened to Uber in Tanzania around 2023, because Uber had exited Tanzania and then Bolt had downscaled their operations there after there were changes in tax measures, but they returned back after the government agreed on better taxation terms for them. But for the period that these companies were away, Uber and Bolt in Tanzania, local companies were not able to grab the market share. So we also need to ask ourselves, in as much as we are calling for Uber and Bolt to exit our market, do we have local companies, that are positioned to replace these companies when they go? In Tanzania, it did not happen. They were away for quite some time. They returned and they took the lead in market share. In Kenya, do we have companies that are positioned to do that? We might talk about Faras, but given the tax advantages they have compared to foreign applications, why don't we see them offering far much favorable terms to drivers and to passengers compared to what we are seeing with these applications? So that's topic for another day.